Right, so Murder Drones is finally about to be back on our screens, which means it is time for you to watch me lose my mind over minute details. We've got a trailer to dissect and theories to write, so let's get into it. First up, let's go over some broad stuff so we're on the same page. Episode 7 takes place in a cathedral hidden underneath the Episode 6 laboratory that used to house the drones infected with Absolute Solver, including Uzi's mum Nori and Doll's mum Eva. It's believed by the characters that this place hides some information or special item regarding the Absolute Solver. Doll knows more about it than what our protagonists do, and is actively racing them to get it first. Meanwhile, the Absolute Solver is doing its damn best to completely corrupt Uzi and gain control over the planet. This places the biggest weight on our boy N, who needs to make a decision to either help Tessa kill Uzi to prevent the Solver from infiltrating, or save Uzi, who is canonically his girlfriend now. In a writing decision I refuse to talk about anymore. I have a theory on which one he picks, but I think you can figure that one out for yourself, so let's stop dawdling. We have 35 unique images to look through, let's get started. First unique frame, and we open on the end of episode 6 in the elevator hallway. Note the cut wires at the far end here. The concerning part is instead of any sign of V, we get a trail of oil leading behind the camera. The sentinel tail on the right and potentially injured one on the left suggests that she put up a fight, but it isn't looking very good for V at the moment. Also, side note here, either this drop is ridiculously long or V got dragged away in 0.2 seconds, because we hear the elevator car hit the bottom. Next up, we cut to another hallway. Here's our confirmation that these two locations were made at about the same time, as we have a replica of the computers from upstairs down here, along with an olden-style filament lamp. There's also this ominous poster up on the wall that has "Help" scrawled onto it in something that looks a little too clean to be blood, but it could still be. Here's a set of lockers for different drones that have Absolute Solver in the most irritating order I have ever seen. It's obvious that the first one belongs to Yeva, and my triple 8K Ultra HD monitors let me see that number 24 belongs to a drone named Triss. The hallway in the background here also looks exactly the same as the one we saw 2 shots ago. Here's another good look at the Solver flesh and some human bones scattered about this entranceway. It's vaguely similar to what we see N get dragged through in the finale, but I'm not entirely sure it's the same spot. This is just a zoom in on the last shot without the lamp shining through the hole. Pretty gruesome. There's not a whole lot here except for some Cabin Fever Labs symbols. It's hard to see in this frame, but there is a hole in the wall here that is big enough to fit through quite easily. And I know where it goes, but that's for later. While I would like to give credit to Glitch for this fantastic cathedral design, I can't, because they didn't make it. This design was found on the Unreal Engine Marketplace by Khan Goatman, and I have to assume that Glitch just bought it and fleshified the interior. So for that very reason, nothing in this shot can be counted as relevant to any theories, though I will say that door and lighting looks mighty familiar. The warnings on these monitors remain as considerate as ever. This central area is where we see Enanusi hugging, where she squeezes his hand, and I also think it might be where Nori went ballistic in episode 5. Here's where that computer error came from, as well as the knowledge that the Solver flesh isn't contained to inside the cathedral. Ergo, there might be multiple areas down here that were used as part of testing. The difference in styles from the area with Yeva's locker to the cathedral suggests that the JCJenson crew was probably inside while the drones were locked in a tunnel somewhere nearby. Now we get our first look at what I call the Genesis. It's the most infected area of the whole place and is dug down beyond sight, which must be pretty deep considering we're already over 100 meters underground. I'm going to say that this is the spot where the core of Copper 9 was breached from and destabilized. This shot doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. We are currently underground inside of what is obviously a very big cave, but the laws of thermodynamics don't allow for clouds to form like this, let alone produce lightning. So either we have some Frankenstein junk going on here, or the Absolute Solver has developed even more abilities. Probably both. Lots of bones here that look a little too large to be from human rib cages unless these tendrils are really small. We haven't seen anything this smooth and fluid before, and it looks to be pure black as opposed to the red which covers a lot of the room. The closest thing I think I've seen to it would be the tendril attached to the hand that grabbed Thad in episode 2. This is the image used in every single thumbnail ever, and here's the frame that screwed me over last time. These humans are part of a flashback where I'm assuming we're going to see how the cathedral got so messed up. The big ass hole full of Solver flesh is also positioned right where this table is. That's the image used in every other thumbnail. And as a lead on from the other flashback segment, this amalgamation right here is where the table was. Something messed up has definitely happened here. Tessa pulling her sword out in front of an Uzi who was just shown to be completely taken over by Solver is not at all a good sign. Also, it means we might finally get to see her fight properly. JCJenson logo strung over the top of lit candles, static TV screens, slick liquids on the floor, and frickin' ninja stars do not bode well for keeping one's sanity. The cross is held in front of this paused TV screen that has a set of human hands in it. This is likely a POV camera from one of our scientists, since I don't think Tessa would set this up for no reason. Also, 02 on the side here might indicate we're close to Nori. This is a dog. And this is a repeat of a frame from the finale teaser that has been put through the microwave. Yet again, we see this hallway hallway, this time from the back with the front door in sight, ready for two characters who should be dead to bust through. A much more worn copy of Nori's ID card, this time with splotches of oil in the top corner here. Ultra HD monitor comes into play yet again. That's Thad and Lizzie. Also, these lights in this car mean we are back on the surface near the worker drone colony. The levitating objects is also confirmed to be related to a strong silver presence thanks to episode 6. Took you long enough. Finally, Glitch got around to watching this short I made almost a year ago. Almost a year ago? Jesus, I've been doing this for too long. This is the same two cabin fever symbols from before again, but with the flames extinguished this time. This pathway also leads to the hallway from the very start of the trailer, which then leads to the lockers, so this must be the infected drone storage, or I guess the dorm rooms. This lad holding the flashlight is one that I can't recognize. The only thing I could think of is it might be Tessa, because we've seen that she does go down here, though this scene may be from the flashback segment, in which case we shouldn't recognize them. It might be this guy though, Dr. Chambers, which is very fitting. Uzi's eye starts bleeding oil in response to the absolute solver. We've seen this with Eva and Dole already, but she hasn't and she's not coping very well. I'm also not coping very well, because this shot creates a massive dilemma. It probably has to come before the blanked out solver for any sort of timeline to make sense, but that can't happen because this is thought to be an irreparable injury, so something's definitely not adding up. Speaking of Dole, here she is holding one of her signature knives. If I were a betting man, I'd say Uzi's on the wrong end of it, but it could easily be Tessa or N. And finally, we get one more shot of our Genesis, with a corpse for good measure. Now, just a few final notes. We don't get a lot showing where the group fell to, and we see nothing of the elevator when it lands, probably because there isn't much of it left. We also do get a shot of the hall at the start, but nothing else from upstairs, meaning if something does happen, it's either really short or a major spoiler from the episode. But there is one problem with this teaser, and it's something that might just cement this episode as a failure for the series. Something that is so blatantly wrong and concerning that I'm actually scared. And that thing is, Jay doesn't get any screen time.